Ragin Cajuns softball gains a commitment from a Florida State transfer catcher. Let's learn about her here on Ragin Rundown. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode of Ragin Rundown. All Cajuns all the time. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you know you can always call me Fitz. And in today's episode, we will be talking about Ragin Cajun softball earning two commitments. The first from a transfer catcher from Florida State, and then also a high school signee. And then later on in the show, we will talk about the fall ball schedule that Ragin Cajuns baseball has released as they will get closer to the 2027 season and introducing us to Team 113. So let's lead off with the transfer catcher that is Danika Spinogatti from Florida State, announcing her commitment to join the Ragin Cajun softball program. She initially entered the transfer portal back on June the 8th after spending a redshirt year at Florida State. Obviously, now the eligibility rules, it would have been her 1 year already. So she has 4 years of eligibility remaining. She is actually coming off of an ACL surgery. So she tore her ACL last year, but on July the 8th, she posted a video on her Twitter account saying that almost 8 months post ACL surgery, and she's feeling stronger than ever. So she is coming off of an injury, but she has 4 years of eligibility, and she was a part of that Florida State team that went 52-10, that hosted the Tallahassee Regional, but ultimately bowed out to UCF in the regional final. So a little bit of a snapshot about her. She attended, I'm trying to pull it up here. She attended Montverde Academy, the world famous Montverde Academy, where great athletes come from. Cooper Flagg, I think, went there. If you know about from a basketball perspective, she turned herself into one of the top prospects in the country. She was the number 29 overall player by extra innings softball, and is a 6-time Florida Class 3A All-State honoree. In 2025, she hit a .485 with 8 home runs and 40 RBI. She helped Montverde to get the number 2 rank in the entire country. She was a PGF All-American in 2025 and was a finalist for the 2025 Florida Gatorade Player of the Year. She was selected to the U.S. USSSA Select 30 All-Star Game in 21, 22, and the Triple Crown All-Star Game in 2023. Just a list of numerous accolades, and she also helped Montverde to win their first ever state title back in 2024. So obviously, none of that is going to translate over to the collegiate level, but it just goes to show you the type of catcher that you're adding to your roster. Obviously, again, she is coming off of that ACL injury, so she's going to have to regain her confidence. And we know that after injuries, sometimes it can take some time, but you are getting a former elite catcher at the high school level. And so you add her into the mix, it now gives you an opportunity to have options at the catcher position. Obviously, Kennedy Marceau was a huge factor for you behind the dish last season, getting all conference honors. You signed Zoe Harrington, the North Vermilion product, and now you add in Danika Spinogatti to the mix. So now if you decide that maybe you want to move Kennedy Marceau to the outfield or the infield, or you want to move Zoe Harrington, you have the options to do that as long as one of the catchers behind Kennedy Marceau, Zoe Harrington, or Danika Spinogatti, if either one of those players are able to step up. She has a really strong bat from some of the cut-ups that I've seen her in the cages, and some of the videos that she's posted on her social media platforms. So you can go and check some of that out. But even though she did not play on this Florida State team, she was around a lot of great players. She was in the locker room as that team was building what they eventually had as a really solid regular season campaign, winning the ACC in back-to-back seasons, and ultimately being able to host a regional, just not being able to finish the job, get to a super regional, and who knows what could have happened from that point on. And so because of that, maybe some of those positive aspects that she learned while she was there in Tallahassee in her one season, she can be able to carry that over into the Ragin Cajuns locker room. We've talked about it before here on this show. In order to build a winning program, you have to recruit players that have been around winning programs and have been a part of successful programs that have won championships and have seen what it takes to be great. Even if that's going and getting a player that hasn't played yet, but they know what greatness looks like. And so now when they get their opportunities to go out and play, they can be able to execute some of those same things that they've seen other great players be able to do. So that is how things will look for you on that end. On the softball end, excuse me, on the pitching perspective, they also received a commitment, but it was from the high school ranks of things. And we're going to introduce you to her when we return here on Ragin Rundown. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Ragin Rundown. And we're going to get back into the action in just a second. But before we do, if you are watching this episode on YouTube, please do me a favor, like it, share it, and leave a comment down below. But most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're listening, please follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review because it's going to help us get in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. So before we went to break, we told you about Danika Spinogatti, the Florida State transfer catcher that is now a Ragin Cajun. And now we're going to talk about the high school catcher that the Ragin Cajuns received a commitment from. Her name is Candice Puig. She is a right-handed pitcher. She is from the state of California. Like I said, she is a right-handed pitcher. In her senior season, she was first team All Del Rio. I was not able to find too many stats in terms of the full collective part of the season, but from what I saw on Max Preps from the games that they have, she also hit. So she hit a 284. She had 27 hits, 19 RBI. She had a fielding percentage of 926. So that's her high school career batting stats overall. Her senior season, from the games that they have listed, which I don't know if this is the final stats at all, she had a 308 batting average, 16 hits, 19 RBI. And then from a pitching perspective, her NCSA profile has her with her fastest pitch velocity being at 65 miles an hour, her changeup velocity being at 43, and an overhand throw at 67 miles per hour. So again, you're adding in a young player to the mix, someone that is unproven, very similar to Danika Spinogatti, but being around a team that was very solid in her final season. And now you add her to this roster in a bullpen that is going to be spearheaded, like we've said before, by Sage Hoover, who is your most experienced pitcher, followed by Bailey Mackles, who was on the team last year but had very few appearances in the 2026 season. After that, you have Emily Adams. Michaela Ranicky is a utility player, but she has the ability that if you need her to come in and pitch, she can. You signed KG Favors, who was the South Carolina transfer, and now you add in Candice Puig. It's going to take me a minute to try to get used to saying that. So you're, like I said, you're very, very young out of your bullpen, but you have the opportunity to be able to build something and see what she can become as an overall player. And maybe somewhere further down the line, she can become the ace for you. The thing that's going to be very clear about not just the pitching staff, but this roster as a whole is that this team is going to be very young. They're going to be not nearly as experienced as what they would like. But if the coaching staff is able to get these girls developed enough, quickly enough to get them ready, this team has the opportunity to be good for some time. As it stands, your roster has 22 total players. They still have 3 roster spots potentially available. Not sure exactly how much further they will go in terms of a recruiting standpoint, but they have 12 total returners, 7 incoming freshmen, 3 transfers, but all 3 of those transfers are basically freshmen as well because all 3 of them redshirted last season. Angelina Conde from Texas Tech, Danika Spinogatti from Florida State, and then KG Favors from South Carolina are your 3 transfers. And I'll list off all of the players that you have across the board in the pitching staff. Bailey Mackles and Sage Hoover are your 2 returners. Emily Adams and Candice Puig are your 2 freshman pitchers. KG Favors is your transfer pitcher. Your infielders, Mia Lascano, Brooke Otto, Madison Manning, Haley Hart, and Emily Smith are all returners. Ali Rios, Tori Gonzalez, and Angelina Conde will be newcomers. The two freshmen, Ali Rios and Tori Gonzalez. Conde being the transfer. Your outfielders, Deja Williams, Mia Norwood, Lily Knox, and Kennedy Stutes are your returners. Haley Johnson is an incoming freshman. Your catchers, Kennedy Marceau, Zoe Harrington is a freshman. Kennedy Marceau is a returner. Danika Spinogatti is a transfer. And then your utility player is Michaela Ranicky, still working to find out where she's going to land in terms of positional player, but she has the ability to play anywhere. So, like I said, the team will look extremely young. Last season, you had only 5 seniors. This incoming season, you will have only 5 seniors. Those 5 seniors will be Sage Hoover, Mia Lascano, Brooke Otto, Deja Williams, and Madison Manning. Everybody else thereafter are all underclassmen. And of the newcomers that you have, that being 10 newcomers, your true freshmen and your transfers, all of them will be freshmen. All of them have either 4 to 5 years of eligibility. So that means if you can get this group to start clicking over the summer months now, once they get back on campus through fall ball, and once the season starts, you can have them to get off to a fast start. That means that you will be able to be good for a very long time. This is the part about building up a program. The main thing is, will this coaching staff be able to get these young ladies ready? Alyson Habetz, Lacey Prejean, Cal Brady, Bill Shipman. It's their responsibility now that your roster is starting to slowly come to form after you've had players to leave the program, to enter the transfer portal and go elsewhere. Now it's about taking the players that you've brought in, because pretty much all of this roster, except maybe 2 to 3 players, are all your recruits. They are all the ones that you went and sought after. You brought them in, and you have integrated them into the program. So now it's about getting them ready to be able to go out and compete, to not just be competitive, to not potentially win a few games. It's the standard is to dominate the Sun Belt, to win the Sun Belt, and then host a regional and go on a run to try to go toward a College World Series. So it'll be interesting to see how this team turns out, but that is how things stand with your softball program. 22 total players, 3 spots remaining, as you have 12 returners, 7 freshmen, and 3 transfers. Switching gears now to the other diamond sport, the baseball program. Source allowed me to be able to find out what their fall ball schedule will look like. The Cajuns will begin action on October the 2nd. They have 4 games that they will play. 3 of them will be against in-state opponents. The other will be against Lamar. But all of these games are against Southland Conference opponents. So on October 2nd, they will travel to Nichols. On October 16th, they will play Northwestern State. On October 25th, they will play McNeese at home. So the Northwestern State game and the McNeese game are both at home. And then they will round out fall ball on Friday night, October the 30th, against Lamar. So 3 Friday night action games with the Nichols, Northwestern State, and Lamar game, and then 1 Saturday opportunity to see the Ragin Cajuns baseball team on October 25th. We know what that roster completely looks like. We've talked about it in previous episodes that you can check out on the channel, of the type of dynamic that Matt Deggs appears to have gone through. And I actually will be trying to get an opportunity to speak with him a little bit later this week on my day job at KETC. So I'll be trying to get some answers from him on what went into the thought process of why he decided to go the route that he did, and not taking as many freshmen on the roster, only taking 2, and going and getting transfer guys that had a ton of experience to go along with the returners that he had in the mix. I'll be trying to get some of those answers from him. But like what we've talked about, he said after the Starkville Regional that he didn't feel like they ran out of gas. He felt like they simply ran out of arms. And now they are not going to have that problem anymore, because they have 20 total pitchers on the roster, and they have some elite skill players like a Blaze Rodriguez, like a Noah Lewis, um, like a Colt Brown, and then obviously Sawyer Pruitt as the other freshman, the big four that we've talked about. They have a ton of skill players to go along with the pitching staff that they have now built up with the transfers that they're bringing in. The extensive amount of transfers that they're bringing in is what stands out the most to me at this point. That is what's going to be interesting to see as we see them face off against some of these in-state opponents, and seeing how well they're going to gel together. This is the opportunity that they will have where you'll be able to see, okay, here's who we can have at first base. Here's who we can have at second. Maybe we can rotate differently at this position. Here's who you got in the outfield. You can try this person in the left field, this person at center, this person at right. You have the opportunity to see who's going to be your main starter out of your bullpen, who's going to be an ace for you, who's going to be your Friday guy, your Saturday guy, your Sunday guy. This is the first opportunity that you have to learn about what this team will be made of. You'll have the opportunity to see how hard they're willing to work. They're going through their workouts now, and that will carry over even more into the fall. But once they get out there and they're actually playing some live action against a different opponent, that's when you'll be able to see what your team is truly made of. So it'll be fun to see what Team 113 will look like as we inch closer to the season through the fall ball action. That's going to wrap up yet another episode of Ragin Rundown. If you've made it to this point in the episode, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, please like the video, share it, and leave a comment down below. But most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're listening, please follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time.